What if Dragon Ball games have lore-accurate power scaling?
Well, that's one of the questions we'll be answering with today's special episode of Secrets in Dragon Ball Fan Games. You've probably seen that viral Tenkaichi 3 clip of Yamcha firing his Spirit Ball and Omega Shenron.
Check out my extra large Spirit Ball!
I found that clip hilarious, but one thing kept it from being perfect in my eyes. It's the fact that Yamcha survived a massive, planet-shattering explosion from the second strongest being in all of Dragon Ball at the time. That sent me down a rabbit hole looking for a lore-accurate Dragon Ball experience with proper power scaling, only to discover nothing. Well, almost nothing. Sparking Zero was about to release, which made me put the whole search on hold and eventually forget about it entirely. And by the way, in Sparking Zero, Yamcha's Spirit Ball surprisingly doesn't get swallowed by Omega Shenron's Negative Energy Ball. It actually cancels it out. Talk about a glow up for Yamcha. Almost a year after Sparking Zero came out, I went back to continue my search. And in early December, I finally found what I was looking for. Dragon Ball Z BTK3. I still have no idea what the K stands for. This is a complete rework of Tenkaichi 3's damage scaling system, created by members of the Spanish-speaking DBZ community, with the goal of making the game's combat as lore-accurate as possible. How well did they pull it off? Allow me to recreate that Yamcha and Omega clip. Actually, scratch that. Let me just show you what happens when Omega fires a regular Ki Blast, and I'll let your imagination fill in what would happen if he were to fire his Negative Energy Ball.
Hey, Yamcha!
It's Goku.
Hey! Do you want to play War Thunder? What?
This video is brought to you by War Thunder, an immersive free-to-play vehicle combat game with over 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters, and even ships. Immerse yourself in incredibly detailed and realistic graphics, authentic sound effects, and intense combat in War Thunder. Each vehicle is intricately modeled down to its individual components, and you can see every one of them get destroyed in real time, thanks to their signature X-ray system. One of my favorite features of the game, by the way. Whether you're craving a casual, quick, and simple game mode, you've got arcade. Want something more realistic? You've got realistic mode. And if you're after the ultimate immersion, there's simulator mode. No matter how strong or weak your PC is, War Thunder is heavily optimized, allowing you to play on basically any hardware. Join over 95 million players on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and mobile by signing up using my links in the description or the pinned comment. Both new and returning PC and console players that haven't played for 6 months will receive a bunch of exclusive goodies: 100,000 Silver Lion, 7 days of premium account, and an exclusive vehicle decorator, Eagle of Valor. Yamcha gets one-shotted, basically. It's not pretty. The lore-accurate damage scaling is present across the entire roster. This is how much damage Yajirobe is able to deal to SSJ for Gogeta. And here's the same test in BTK3. Now, if we go to character select screen, you'll notice a bunch of numbers displayed below each character. What do they stand for? I think you already know, but yeah, their power levels. Some of them are completely accurate, and by that, I mean the ones that were directly stated in the manga, anime, or official guidebooks. But the vast majority are speculative, and this isn't meant to discredit the creators. It's just that the whole idea of power levels being shown as numbers was dropped after the Frieza saga, so fans were left to speculate from the Android saga onward. And even if the numbers themselves are speculative, the actual scaling is pretty solid, I'd say. To a certain extent, this mechanic was already present in BT3 story mode. A good example is the second fight in the Saiyan saga, Tien and Chaozu versus Nappa.
The ground is shaking!
Tien's dialogue does a great job of setting the stage, and the buffs they give Nappa really sell how outclassed the Z fighters were in that moment. Still, despite all those buffs, we as players can still win, even though the game does its best to make us lose so the story can progress. All in all, Spike did a great job selling that whole outclassed feeling while still keeping things fair. But these guys went a step, or perhaps 2 steps further. I already showed you those 2 examples with Yamcha and Yajirobe, but there's actually quite a bit of depth hiding beneath the surface. We all know Tenkaichi 3 gives at least 2 outfits to every character. Goku, for example, has 3. Each outfit represents a different version of him. The first is his late cell and Buu Saga self. The second is his time in the hyperbolic time chamber with Gohan. And the third is his post-Buu Saga version, commonly known as End of Z. Even though End of Z Goku was vastly stronger than Cell Saga Goku, in the original game they output the exact same amount of damage. And that's where the BTK3 team steps in. Base Goku N with the Saiyan armor deals 230 damage, while Base Goku N in the EOZ outfits hits 450. And as you might have guessed, the gap only gets bigger as you go through his transformations. The BTK3 team added something the original game never had, and it makes perfect sense. Cell Saga Goku and End of Z Goku shouldn't be outputting the same damage, and this is what the mod is all about. But what really blows my mind is that they even made custom movesets for each outfit. In the base game, Frieza Saga Vegeta and all his other outfits share the same ultimate, Dirty Fireworks. But in BTK3, we get Ginyu Assault Vegeta. Even though he's technically the same character as Frieza Saga Vegeta, this version represents the battle against Recoome, which you can easily tell by the battle damage he sustained. Now his ultimate is Final Crash Attack, with Big Bang Cannon as his super. I think Big Bang Cannon is the move he used to transport Recoome to the other world. And of course, we can't talk about outfit-based damage scaling without mentioning the Big Green.
This is Namek Saga Piccolo.
His regular rush combo deals 1210 damage to second form Frieza, a character he's roughly equal in strength to. But watch this. What if Piccolo were to remove his weights?
Weighted armor? How quaint. And how much does it weigh?
Same as it always does. 100 kilo.
I'll never be sure how much those things actually weigh, but just like they did in the show, they also increase Piccolo's strength in the game. And unlike the Z Goku we looked at earlier, these two Piccolos aren't dealing different damage because they're from different points in time. They're literally the same character at the same moment. It's just that one is wearing weighted clothing and the other isn't. That's why their damage outputs differ. Very impressive when you consider that the original games completely overlooked this. Outfit-based damage scaling isn't the only unique feature the BTK3 team brought to the table. Allow me to introduce alternate transformation paths. Previously, Cell Saga Goku could access all the same transformations as Buu Saga Goku. Why? Well, it's because Goku N is a blend of the late Cell and Buu Sagas, and naturally he has access to all the transformations Buu Saga Goku has, which allows us to play as SJ3 Goku with Saiyan armor, and I'm by no means complaining. I think SSJ3 Goku in Saiyan armor is peak character design. However, the BTK3 team did things a bit differently. Saiyan Armor Goku is still there, and he can still go Super Saiyan, but he can't go Super Saiyan 2 or 3. Although that doesn't mean he can't go further beyond. This is Grade 2 Goku, the same form Super Vegeta used, and it's exclusive to the Saiyan Armor outfit. But wait, this form has one more bonus. The ever-elusive Grade 3 Goku, a form I don't think was ever adapted into a mainline Dragon Ball game. Why didn't they adapt it? Probably something to do with the form having less than a minute of screen time, and during that entire minute, he wasn't even shown fighting. Basically, no moveset to adapt. Hell, even the BTK3 team seemed to struggle with this form since it uses the same moveset and animations as Grade 3 Trunks. Its damage output is higher than the previous two forms, which makes sense. It's also a bit higher than Grade 3 Trunks, which is fair. Surprisingly, it's even significantly stronger than Super Saiyan 2. Now, that's a little odd, but I remember seeing debates about whether Grade 3 might actually have higher raw power than SSJ2, so maybe the team leaned in that direction, or maybe it's just an oversight. Honestly, I can't imagine how time-consuming it must be to create custom damage values for over 150 base characters, plus another 100 or so from alternate outfits, and another 50 or more from modded characters. Yeah, I kind of forgot to mention it, but they do have more modded characters, and they also come with custom damage scaling. Grade 3 Goku isn't the only one. Huge shoutouts to them. I wonder if they'd ever consider something like this for Sparking Zero.
You can never surpass me.
Budokai? 4. And no, I'm not referring to Infinite World. Although Infinite World will be used as the basis for this project, Budokai 4 is a fan project led by a fellow Budokai YouTuber, Dr. Dupiera, who some of you may already be familiar with, along with Nim, the coder behind the scenes who, from what I understand, is responsible for many of the features that were implemented. But they're not alone. There are quite a few people who made this project possible. Budokai 4 is essentially a mod centered around competitive, balanced gameplay, designed to make the Budokai combat system feel as tight and polished as possible. Frankly, I think they nearly perfected it. This is Goku's ground slash from the base game. Yeah, you don't need to be a Budokai expert to see why this move is problematic. Now, compared to the Budokai 4 version, it's much less oppressive and more fair. And that's just one example. While balance is a core focus, that didn't stop them from completely overhauling the game. Every stage from previous Budokai titles has been ported into Budokai 4. And you know how in the original games you can only pick a character's base form on the select screen? In Budokai 4, you can directly select specific transformations, and even fusions and secret/alternate characters. The scope of this mod is nothing short of ambitious, and I honestly couldn't do it justice in a video like this. So if you're interested, definitely check out Dr. Dupiera's channel. But with that out of the way, let's look at some of the clever little details hiding beneath the surface. Heavy smashes were one of the coolest features from Burst Limit. As the name suggests, your character would perform an attack so forceful that you could literally see it go through your opponent. And in the case of uppercuts or kicks to the jaw, the opponent would basically get a free neck lengthening procedure. The folks at Budokai 4 didn't just bring it back, they also added a subtle Easter egg with Super Buu. In Infinite World, and by extension Budokai 4, Super Buu has 3 absorption options: Piccolo, Gotenks, and Gohan. Each absorption has its own unique heavy smash. Piccolo goes for a kick to the face, Gotenks pulls off a bicycle kick to the face, and Gohan opts for an elbow strike to the gut. Why am I drawing attention to Super Buu's heavy smashes? Well, let me show you what Old Han's heavy smash looks like. Here's Gotenks. And finally, Piccolo. Notice a pattern? Super Buu gains the heavy smash of the last person he absorbed. I'm honestly impressed. Subtle Easter eggs seem to be a must, even in fan-made DBZ games. Speaking of subtle details, don't let the outfit fool you. This is GT Vegeta. Like most characters in this mod, GT Vegeta has a bunch of unique outfits, with the Saiyan armor being my favorite. While casually testing the mod, I was playing as GT Vegeta and decided to go into Super Saiyan 4.
Aw, he kept the Z outfit.
It didn't default to GT Vegeta's genes. Curious, I mess around with GT Vegeta's and GT Goku's outfits.
Yardrat Super Saiyan for Goku?
Never even imagined this combo in my head, but it looks good. There seems to be quite a bit of extra love put into GT characters. What makes me say that? Android 17, a supposedly unbeatable entity when he fuses with himself, according to himself.
Nobody can beat me when I'm Super 17.
Like in most games he appears in, Super 17 in Infinite World, and by extension, Budokai 4, has an energy absorption ability. He absorbs all ki-based attacks and adds that energy to his own. Nothing groundbreaking, right? We've seen that before. Well, watch this. Super 17 in Budokai 4 works fairly similarly to his Infinite World counterpart, with the biggest difference being that his multipliers were buffed to make him more viable. And the key word here is buffed, because they took that idea quite literally. Every time Super 17 absorbs a ki blast, his muscle mass progressively grows larger and larger. And if you're a fan of the anime, I think you'll immediately recognize and appreciate this detail. They also tweaked his aura to shift from white to a dark red, helping sell that massive surge of energy his body is absorbing and emitting. And get this, if you don't absorb any energy for about 30 seconds, the buffs, both the literal muscle mass and the stat multipliers, will fade out. And 17 will, as Dr. Dupiera puts it, comically deflate. Great stuff. Alright fellas, this isn't very cheerful to hear, but Budokai 4 project has been disbanded. This is how far development got before the remaining team members released it. Remember Nim, the coding expert I mentioned at the beginning? He was responsible for a huge chunk of the features that got implemented. When he withdrew from the project, progress stalled, and eventually it stopped dead in its tracks. Which is exactly why I encourage anyone interested to check out his latest video. The Budokai Tenkaichi 4 mod needs no introduction. It's one of, if not the most popular mod made for any Dragon Ball game. Just like the BTK3 mod, this one comes from the Spanish-speaking Dragon Ball community. What started as a project aimed at their own community eventually blew up worldwide with the release of an English version. The Tenkaichi 4 mod has so much going for it, and I strongly encourage anyone even slightly interested to check out the original creators. But with the introductions out of the way, let's take a deeper look at all the clever little quirks and details the team built into this mod. There's been a somewhat popular theory going around that the success of fan mods like Tenkaichi 4 played a role in us eventually getting Sparking Zero. While that was never officially confirmed, I did notice one really interesting correlation between the two. The BT4 team introduced combo extensions. Let me use SSJ for Goku as an example. In BT3, you perform a 4-hit string combo, followed by a 5th input that teleports you in front of the opponent and sends them flying. And in BT3, that's where the combo ends. You can't follow up after that. In Sparking Zero, you can recreate that same combo, except now you can actually extend it if you want to. And guess where else you can do that? The combo isn't a perfect 1-to-1 match, but it's surprisingly close. There's even another version that looks almost identical visually, even if the inputs are slightly different. Now, this isn't some groundbreaking idea. The Sparking Zero team could have absolutely come up with the combo extensions on their own. But considering that BT4 added them before we ever saw actual gameplay mechanics of Sparking Zero, I thought it was worth pointing out. Explosive waves. Everyone knows them, and if you're on the receiving end of a combo loop, you sure as hell love them. Explosive wave is a utility move that can be activated at any point during a fight, as long as you have enough skill points. Its main purpose is basically a get out of jail free card. While a lot of characters have access to it, each with their own colors and, in some cases, unique animations, they all normally do the same thing: knock the opponent off you. And I guess the BT4 team wanted to do something about that. They ended up keeping the original explosive waves from BT3, except one. Super Saiyan 3 Broly. Yes, the same one from Raging Blast. Instead of just releasing a shockwave that pushes the opponent back, he also fires a barrage of ki blasts in every direction at the same time. They don't lock on, and the trajectories seem to be random, not broken by any means, just a little something to add some extra flair to the character. By default, Tenkaichi 3 already has a pretty impressive level of detail when it comes to character damage. That said, I think they had to hold back in certain cases to comply with the game's rating. Future Gohan is probably the most famous example. A lot of people, myself included, thought his arm would get wrecked during a fight. I'm not even sure where that idea came from. Maybe some kind of weird Mandela effect. Or perhaps it came from somewhere else. This is Future Gohan from Sparking Zero 10, Tenkaichi 4. By default, he comes equipped with 2 arms. But if he gets hit by an ultimate or loses a beam struggle, Future Gohan will end up short-handed. I strongly suspect this might be why so many people thought Future Gohan actually lost an arm in BT3. Now this one, I don't think I can show it on YouTube. But yes, Tien would suffer a similar fate if he got hit by a strong enough attack. And we can't forget about the OG. Piccolo. Here's another one they probably couldn't implement without affecting the game's rating. Android 16 after his fight with Cell. Though I feel like this one could have made it, given that he's a machine and all.
Perfect Cell. I've come to duel you.
This isn't necessarily a Dragon Ball character mod, but it is a mod for fighters. And it's so good that it would be a crime not to mention it in a video about fan projects. The Yami Yugi mod, Atem, Pharaoh, whatever you want to call him, the mod is flawless. It's insane how faithfully and smoothly Kongming managed to make a character from a card game anime work in a traditional fighting game. And even more insane, how well he translated Yu-Gi-Oh cards and effects into actual fighting game mechanics. Once a match starts, a deck of 35 cards and 5 colored cards will be displayed above your meter. It's because in Yu-Gi-Oh, the minimum deck size is 40 cards, and you start each duel with 5 cards in your hand. Each card corresponds to a specific input and can be activated at any point during the battle, in any order. And if you don't like the hand you're dealt, you can discard it and draw new cards. Nope. not gonna make the joke. Do consider keeping some extra cards in your hand because the more you have, the more damage Slifer will deal to your opponent. Again, a wonderful adaptation of its real life effect. And of course, if you draw all 5 pieces of Exodia, you win the game. Yes. More importantly, you also win the entire match. On the opposite end, if you deck out before defeating your opponent, you'll instantly lose. I could honestly go on and on about the little details, like how, instead of a regular deflect animation, Yugi summons Kuribo to negate the attack, or take the Sword of Revealing Light, which confines your opponent to a limited space for a short period of time. You'll also notice that 3 of them spawn whenever you use the card. Know why? Because, and I know I'm repeating myself, in the real card game, your opponent can't attack you for 3 turns. Alright, I'm gonna stop here, because I have no idea if you guys are even going to watch this. The mod is amazing. Kong Meng did a tremendous job, and everyone who likes both Yu-Gi-Oh! And FighterZ should definitely check it out. Don't forget to check out War Thunder using my links below. Take advantage of the limited time offer for new and returning players who haven't played in the last 6 months on PC or console. Play War Thunder today on PC, mobile, or console. Thank you all for watching. Sorry for taking so long to get the video out, but I was working on a Secrets in Naruto games video alongside this one. So yeah, I think there's a good chance that'll be the next one. Till then, take care.